his victory, you know, in a sense where nobody picked Xander to win. Defense, reflexes, all that, you know. But the only thing that I can say is I'm 10 steps ahead of him. Like, I'm 10 steps ahead of him in smarts. And I think, you know, that's where he'd get in trouble with, you know, coming straight forward, you know, trying to box me or trying to, you know, think shot for shot.
Terence Crawford has finally responded to Jaron Boots in his public challenge, and his message was direct. Bud made it clear that he doesn't believe Ennis has what it takes to beat him and insists he would be the favorite if they ever shared the ring.
When not to exchange, you know, winning the move, win the hold. Like if you watched when he got real hurt, real bad, he didn't know when to hold. You know, and we all yelling like, grab him. You know, he's right there.
Those comments have only added more fuel to the rivalry. While Ennis impressed fans with his power and dominant performance, Crawford's camp believes the clean shots Boots absorbed would become costly against a fighter with Bud's elite timing, accuracy, and ring IQ.
You know, I don't think no one picked Xander to win.
No,
you know, and I love Xander, and he's a great kid, you know, but no one, like, I think we overhyping this victory, you know, in a sense where nobody picked Xander to win. Everybody was kind of like, okay, he's in over his head, and it's a matter of time before Boots catch him and end the fight. But what round will it be?
Right.
Now, I think it's going to be different when he goes up against a Fandora or a Virgil, because if one of those guys get him hurt like Xander did, I don't think it's going to be the same outcome.
Crawford also stated that he operates on a completely different level than Ennis. In his view, the gap between them is much bigger than many fans believe.
Like I said, man, of course, everybody know the competitive nature in myself, but I don't worry about coming back to prove anything, because me coming back and proving something to people that it doesn't matter, what never matters. You know, for that being, they would say, oh, well, he only fought Xander, or they'll come up with some type of excuse, you know, but to credit Boots, like, he's a tremendous talent and he's no walk in the park for no one, you know, so he's a threat to anyone that he stepped foot in the ring with, you know.
According to Crawford, a fight with Ennis would do far more for Boots' career than his own. He believes his legacy is already complete, while Ennis is still trying to prove himself among boxing's elite.
For the level of boxing, I need Josh Kelly, I need Fandora, I need Ortiz. We need names, Boots. None of that tune-up. None of that. If you want to be one of the best, you got to go out there and get it and be the best. Get back in the ring by 2027. Come on. If you really want to be one of them boys, I see he loves to talk. I see that. But you got to just show us in the ring. The resumes, that was the beginning of the resume.
Bud insists he has nothing left to prove after becoming a multi-division world champion and defeating some of the biggest names in boxing.
About this guy, and when I do fight these guys, or when I do step up, then it's always an excuse. So now that 38 years old, about to be 39, I don't have nothing to prove. I didn't win everything there is to win. You know, I hope that Jaron have half of the career that I had, you know, or surpass me. If he surpassed me, I'm going to be rooting for him. You know, I'm going to be giving him his props. I'm not the type of fighter that, you know, want to see him fail. I want to see him succeed. I want to congratulate him. I want to see him, you know, make it to the Hall of Fame and, you know, congratulate him and things like that, you know. But when you say, oh, he would knock Terence Crawford out, or Terence Crawford dugged him, or Terence Crawford ran, and that's why Terence Crawford retired, it pisses me off sometimes, but at the same time, it's just the game.
You know the truth. Yeah, you know.
Boots, however, sees things differently. He He believes that if Crawford is truly confident he would win, then he should return to the ring and prove it instead of rejecting the challenge.
Isn't there anything we didn't have?
Nah. Just I'm definitely a fan of boxing. You know, I'm gonna be in Australia. I'm gonna be.
I know you're gonna be over there. Yeah.
I'm gonna be supporting Spence, rooting him on.
Yeah.
You know, I just like to support, fighters in his own right. I done been in Boots' locker room supporting him. You know, so yeah, it's just crazy how the tables turn. You know, when people get to a certain plateau and they forget about things like that.
We picking Earl? I'm picking
Of course.
All right.
Of course.
Sean and Sean? Y'all
Of course.
Yeah.
Shot better.
We gotta see.
Wow.
Shannon Sharp and Chad Akasinko believe Ennis may be rushing into the matchup, arguing that Crawford still holds major advantages in experience, patience, timing, and ring intelligence.
We focus on tasking taking over this division. We ain't want to retire fighters.
Yeah, y'all keep on throwing Terence up. Terence took you retired. Leave Terence alone. Let him do what he's supposed to do. Y'all have fun.
Rick Glazer believes Crawford has little reason to accept the fight, saying a Canelo rematch would bring a much bigger payday. Sean Porter also believes Crawford's experience, adjustments, and ability to read opponents would make him an extremely difficult challenge for Ennis.
He fought Canelo. Bud is a lot smarter than you think. Bud, people sleep on Bud. I don't know why. I mean, he's the only man that's unified 3 divisions. And you don't see guys go from 140 to 68. Jump 3, basically one fight at 54. Basically, he jumped 3 divisions. 3. Come on now. But I don't know. I don't know if Bud's like, look, man, I done made money. Now it's time for me to sit back and let these other fellas have it. He a 4 division champ. He's a 3 division unified champ. Let that sink in. In the 4-belt era, he got 3 divisions in which he had all.
From Crawford perspective, he no longer needs career-defining fights. Ennis is the one chasing a legacy-changing opportunity, while Bud already has the resume to choose only the fights that interest him.
And creativity.
You just don't see that. That's what this would have been.
Yep.
100%.
A plus versus A.
That's A plus versus A. I like that.
Terrence just a little too much and will catch him.
Yeah.
And Buzz boots. And I think that'll. I think Terrence stops him.
It's such a special fight because you got 2 alpha males in the ring that are true alpha males. You know what I mean? I was an alpha male until I got in the ring with that dude.
It just
that dude it was like the more he wasn't allowing me to do he wasn't, and it was like, damn, okay, well then you know.
You had one of them in 8s and the other in sparring?
I don't know, because that dude hit me with a right hand in the sparring, and I was like, I was like, yo,
That is why many believe Crawford won't feel pressured to come out of retirement simply because Ennis continues calling him out. For now, the decision remains entirely in Bud's hands.
Makes it official, rejects the notion that he could come out of retirement to face Jaron Boots Ennis, stating he really has nothing to prove. Wishes Boots Ennis well on his journey, but he ain't coming out of retirement for no dang Jaron. There's a lot of times where Crawford, he's very passive aggressive. Like, you could tell he got this far in his career being a competitor and being very competitive, not wanting to lose, because you would hear that message and you would be like, all right, he's showing mad love to the youngin, to Jaron Boots Ennis, who actually, he just turned like 29, I believe. He had a birthday. But you hear that and you're like, all right, Crawford was being cool. But then you look at his social media last night and he had like a snarky type of tweet that everybody knows was pretty much sneak dissing Jaron Boots Ennis. Like, I got a lot to say, but I'm gonna just keep it to myself. So Crawford is a competitor, and I noticed that he does a lot of passive aggressive stuff where yesterday night after the fight, you're kind of like alluding to, insinuating, and subliminally getting at Boots. But now you're like, I wish him well. people are, you're being the bigger person. And then also in the same interview, he said this, play the clip.
I don't worry about coming back to prove anything, because me coming back and proving something to people that it does.
Jaron Boots Ennis has now put himself, I think, into the pound for pound conversation. Like, without doubt for me, he's now in the top 10 pound for pounds, and I need to think very quickly about what number he sits at. Because yesterday, he beat an unbeaten champion and stopped him. I repeat myself, he beat an unbeaten champion and stopped him. Didn't go to points, wasn't controversial, beat him up. And I don't say that lightly, because Xander Zayas threw back. There was a time in that fight, I think it was round 3, where Xander Zayas started throwing back, and I even was on my Instagram story, and I was like, okay, we have a fight. Because the crowd started to get into it. It was the first time in a long time. I feel like we've seen Boots hurt, never really shaken, but you see Boots get connected, but Boots kind of took a back seat, like, okay, this guy's starting to land on me, and I was like, okay, this is it. Boots, though, is almost a bit, I'm trying to think of the fighter, Nigel Benn-esque for our UK viewers. When you hit him, he wants to hit you back. Almost a bit like a child in the playground. Like, there is no, okay, you're hitting me, I'm going to go on the defense and run away. No, fire with fire. And that was almost Xander Zayas' undoing, because Boots just hits too hard, he's too strong, he's too fast, and ultimately he's just too good. He's too good. That was...
Meanwhile, Adola Adepo believes Ennis' latest victory has elevated him into the pound-for-pound conversation. He praised not only Boots' dominant performance, but also the quality of the opponent he defeated, calling it another major step in his rise toward boxing superstardom.